What is up everyone, Movie Wayne back again with another video, just a bit of a random one today. I'm going to be picking out the very best movie from each letter of the alphabet out of the collection I have behind me. So everything I'll be showing today is actually a Blu-ray or a 4K. Now, a lot of YouTubers were doing this, so I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. After doing my full collection last week, I thought it'd be fitting just to keep with the theme of another little sort of collection video, showing off a few Blu-rays or whatever. Now, I'm not actually going to start with the letter A. I'm going to start with a number, and then we'll get on to letter A. Just a quick heads up, these aren't necessarily movies that I rewatch over and over and over again. These are movies that I think are the best of that letter, but they're not necessarily personal favourites, they're just what I think is the very best. If that makes any sense to you whatsoever, I might do a follow-up video of this with my favourites, ones that I rewatch over and over and over again. But for now, this is just the creme de la creme of that letter. So we're going to start with a number, and for the first movie showing off here for a number is 12 Angry Men. Sidney Lumet's, I think that's how you say it, directional debut, and what a directional debut it is. You know, this is just about 12 guys in the jury room, and 11 of them think that the man on trial is guilty, and it's down to one guy to convince all these other guys in the room that he isn't. But it doesn't just play along with the characters in the movie. You as an audience member as well, you're going along with it and listening to what he's explaining and stuff, and I think it's really well done. You know, it's near perfect. It might even be perfect. I've only seen it once, but I'm going to rewatch it one day and review it on the channel and stuff. But it's a fantastically well acted movie, just a film everyone should see, really. Now for A, we have a movie out of this box set. I can't take it out because they're all together, but it's not the first Alien movie, it is the second, and that is Aliens. You know, this is a 10 out of 10 movie for me. James Cameron just created something magnificent in this sequel. A lot of people do prefer the first, and a lot of people do prefer the second. It's really split, but I am in that bracket of being with the second movie. I just think it's full of great characters, so many exciting moments, and you know, it's just non-stop action, and you're watching it going, how can a movie be better than this as you're watching it? So for A, we do have Aliens, probably in my top 5 movies of all time, actually. Now for B, it was either Batman Begins or this, and I went for this, and that is Blue Velvet. Brilliant movie by David Lynch, you know, very mysterious, changes course about halfway through, but that's David Lynch for you, isn't it? Expect the unexpected. Dennis Hopper is fantastic in this movie as Frank Booth, just a real bad person, and it's just a great, you know, mystery movie. I really do enjoy this film. I watched it again for the second time a few weeks ago with my fiance, and you know, it's up there with David Lynch's best. That confirmed it for me. I didn't quite know the first time, but the second time it has confirmed that this and Mulholland Drive are his best movies. But if you haven't seen Blue Velvet, guys, definitely give it a go. It's not for everyone, but I think the majority will enjoy this film. Definitely going to do a David Lynch series one day on the channel. Can't wait for that. I just don't think I'm clever enough to overanalyze his films just yet, because they are like puzzle box movies, really. Okay, next for C, we have probably the best, you know, foreign movie ever made, in my opinion, and that is City of God. You know, it all starts off when, you know, these characters are young, and when they grow up, and there's a real little Dice in this movie who grows up to be little Z and owning the whole neighbourhood. It's just interesting to see his story arc and other characters' story arc. It's like 3 different stories going on in one over the course of about 10 years. And it's just a brilliant movie, really captures, you know, what the slums in Brazil are like. And, you know, the police just have no control whatsoever. It's a fantastic film, guys. Really, really well put together, really well crafted. It's just a brilliant movie. It really is. So for C, that is City of God. For D, mainly, this is another reason I didn't put Batman Begins in. I thought to break it up a little bit and put Blue Velvet in there. But for D, we do have The Dark Knight, the best Batman movie ever made, in my opinion. Christopher Nolan's best movie in my opinion. That might change when Tenet comes out, but it looks amazing, but I do doubt it. This is just in my top 10 of all time. Heath Ledger is fantastic as the Joker, as we all know. And I just love the score. You know, the opening scene really sets the movie up. It's just brilliant. I love this style of realistic, you know, Gotham and realistic Batman story. It's just incredible. It's a 10 out of 10 movie for me. I just love it to death. Seen this one quite a few times. This is one of the movies in this that I can rewatch over and over and over again. Seen it about 10 times now. It's just fantastic. It really is a great movie. Okay, for E, we do have a horror film. And it's quite a masterpiece, actually. And that is The Exorcist. You know, I can imagine being absolutely terrified of this in 1978, is it? Oh, sorry, 1973. Going into the cinema, watching this, you know, religion was a bit more serious back then. You know, a lot of people were more religious back then, so I can imagine that being so terrifying if you, you know, have strong religious beliefs. But even to this day, this is still quite a scary movie, you know, especially where Father Karras is going down the steps and that image of the demon just flashes on screen. I mean, if you're watching that in a pitch black room for the first time, that is going to scare the pants off you. But just great performances, you know, an absolute horror classic. And like I said, a masterpiece. It really is. Okay, for F, we have a movie by one of my favourite directors, David Fincher, and that is Fight Club. I just love this movie. You know, the twist at the end is brilliant. Edward Norton and Brad Pitt just deliver knockout performances, excuse the pun. But it's just a really well made, you know, movie from David Fincher. He is the master of, you know, thrillers for me. And it's just great, isn't it? The way it's a big, you know, like about a fight club and then it goes into something so much bigger. And, you know, things, you think you need all these things in life, but you don't really, I suppose, if you look at it through Ed Norton's eyes. But it's just a brilliant movie, guys. I'm sure most of you have seen this. It's quite a popular film, but I just love it. And that is another movie I can really go back to. I've seen that quite a few times. Okay, we are on the letter G, and this is, for me, the greatest movie of all time. In my top 25 greatest films of all time video, this was number 1. And that is The Godfather Part 2. Al Pacino is the best actor ever, in my opinion, and this is him at his best. You know, the story arc he goes from the first movie to this is just probably the best story arc I've ever seen in a movie. You know, he's just a little shy guy at the start, and then he's just someone you don't mess with at all. And I love that. You know what I love about this movie? The way it's sort of a prequel and a sequel. They could have just done a sequel or a prequel and it still would have been amazing, but I love the fact that it jumps back and forth with De Niro as Don Corleone. It's just fantastic, and it breaks each story up and, you know, gives you a breather from one story to the other. It really is just a masterpiece. 10 out of 10, perfect movie in my opinion. So there you go. Next up we are on H, and that this is in my top 10 movies of all time, and that is Heat. I've seen this 3 times now, and each time it gets better. Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, my 2 favourite actors in the same movie. That scene is unforgettable in the cafe. And we also have a great shootout scene, you know, just after De Niro robs the bank with Al Pacino and all his, you know, squad coming, try and take them down. It's just a brilliant film. It's 3 hours long, but it never feels 3 hours. You feel like you're really watching an epic movie, and you are. Michael Mann just delivered a fantastic crime movie here, and I highly advise it to every single person. Next up, we are on the letter I, and this was a first time watch for me last year, just before Christmas, and I don't give so many movies a 10. I think there's about 15 on the planet I'd probably give a 10 to, and this is one of them, and that is It's a Wonderful Life. Can't wait to watch this again at Christmas time, but, you know, even if you don't want to watch it at Christmas, you can watch this any time of the year. It's possibly the best feel-good movie ever made, in my opinion. You know, you really feel for James Stewart's character. You know, you just feel every ounce of joy and happiness that comes out of him. You really want him to succeed because he's just such a good person. One of cinema history's great heroes. And you really do, you know, you really root for this character. And it's just a brilliant film, guys, honestly. I can't believe it took me 31 years to get to this movie. And silly me, but yeah, it's just brilliant. Honestly, it really is. 10 out of 10. Okay, next up for Jay, we probably have, I think this is the most recent movie in this video. Yes, it is. A 2019 movie, and that is Joker. Amazing. You know, just gives off so much dark atmosphere when you're watching this film. Joaquin Phoenix is just brilliant as Arthur Fleck, or the Joker, if you like. And, you know, it's just full of twists and turns. You're not quite sure what's happening. When the impactful scenes happen, you really do feel them. Just incredible, it really is. The only thing I don't like about this movie is the last scene. I just think it should have ended. Spoiler warning, guys. There you go. I just think it should have ended where he's on the car and everyone just lifts him up like he's their saviour. But yeah, it's just, apart from that last scene, guys, I can't fault it. It's just amazing. You know, I really hope we see Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker again. I really do, because he might not want to do it, and some people might not want him to do it. But I just think there's so much potential for that character to grow. I really do. Next up is we are on K, and that is KickAss. Just holding that the wrong way around there, but I never know with this steelbook which way it is. Sorry about that. Yeah, you know, really surprised me this, like a comic book movie for adults. You know, there's a 11-year-old girl just taking people out and swearing all the time. But basically, you know, this guy here just wants to be a superhero. Why hasn't anyone became a superhero in life? And he decides to come on, and when he gets in a bit of trouble, the real superheroes come, Nicolas Cage and his daughter, and they just are master superheroes, just not people to be messed with. So the world really is full of superheroes. It's a fantastic movie, guys, quite funny, full of violence, full of loads of great fight scenes. It's a great film. It was in my top 10 of the decade. I think it came 10th or 9th, can't remember. Okay, for L, guys, we have an absolute masterpiece, and that is Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. Yes, I love all three of them. They're all brilliant. But this one for me just has that little bit extra that makes it, you know, the big finale, isn't it? You know, it's just incredible to see all these character arcs come together. Sorry, all these character arcs that we've been seeing over the 3 movies come to a climax. You know, what really happens with the ring in the end, you know, the story of Aragorn, Legolas, everything. It's just brilliant, it really is. And I always go for the extended edition, by the way, which is what this is. It's out of the box set, which you might just be able to see behind me, but I think this came 10th in my top 10 greatest, top 25 greatest movies of all time. It's just brilliant. Absolute masterpiece. Next up, we have, I just keep checking if I've got these letters right, guys, sorry. We are on M, and it was between Mulholland Drive and this, and I went with this, The Matrix. Yeah, you know, a movie I've seen plenty of times. You know, I used to watch it as a kid on VHS, and it's quite like nothing I'd seen before at the time. It's just such a great action movie, it really is. Seeing Keanu Reeves do bullet time for the first time was just a moment that'll stick with me forever. And it's just full of great characters, you know, really great action set pieces. And I just love it. And it, you know, obviously this isn't real, but at the time I was thinking, imagine that was really happening. If you just put your mind to it, you can do it. But yeah, it's a fantastic film, it really is. The Matrix. Okay, up for N, we have No Country for Old Men from the Coen Brothers. I've only seen this once, guys, and I just remember thinking, wow, what a film that is. Javier Bardem is great as the villain in this. One of the best bad guys in cinematic history, I'd say. He's just relentless, doesn't care. and he will not stop. But it's just a great film, guys, it really is. I'm going to have to give this one a rewatch soon. Next up, we have Once Upon a Time in America for the letter O, a great coming-of-age gangster movie. Half the movie is them when they are kids, and the second half is when they're older. Do prefer the first half a little bit more, but this is just a great film. You know, one of the best gangster films ever made. I think it's a 4-hour epic. I think Sergio Leone done this, yes. Directed by Sergio Leone. You know, for lots of great movies like the Spaghetti Western trilogy. Robert De Niro, at a very young age, is great in this. It's just a brilliant film, guys. If you like gangster movies and you don't mind them too long, definitely check this out. Next up, you might be able to guess what the letter P is by looking at me right now. And that is Pulp Fiction. Yes, there we go. Tarantino's best movie. One of the very few films that I watched and then just rewatched it instantly. Like, when the movie finished, I went back to the DVD menu and pressed play again and just watched it. This was at a time in my life where I was really getting into older movies, like gangster films and stuff. And my dad got me a load of gangster films for Christmas, and I had a bit of Christmas money, and this is the only one that he didn't get me, I think. So I went out and bought it, and I just couldn't believe how good it was. Like, it's nothing I'd ever seen before. Did not expect that moment with the gimp and stuff. I just couldn't believe it, and, you know, to this day, I still do think it's Tarantino's best. It's an absolute masterpiece. I think this came 4th in my top 25 greatest movies of all time. Right, I've cheated a little bit here, guys, because I usually put all these movies in the O section, but I didn't have any movies beginning with Q. Sorry, I say the O section, I mean the number section, beginning with the letter 0 for 007, because a lot of these James Bond titles begin with different letters, and I'd rather have them all together in the number section. So I have to go with this, and it is Quantum of Solace. I don't actually love this movie. It's just the only one I've got beginning with Q. Really need to buy A Quiet Place. But yeah, it wasn't bad. You know, it's a 6 out of 10 film, but I'm going to revisit all these Daniel Craig movies just before No Time to Die comes out and, you know, do detailed reviews on them. So I'll give this another go near at a time. Next up, we have another Quentin Tarantino movie, and that is Reservoir Dogs. His directional debut, quite like Sidney Lumet's directional debut. There's another one in here, and it is Reservoir Dogs. And Quentin Tarantino, you know, really put himself on the map with this, and it still stands the test of time to me. It's still a great film. I watched it about a year ago again. Just full of great characters. And I like the fact that they don't really know each other. They're all called Mr. Blonde and Mr. Pink, so they can't give each other away if they get arrested and stuff. And, you know, it's like the big thing that happens doesn't happen in this movie. It's when they're going to the job and then the aftermath of the job, which I thought was quite clever. And yeah, Quentin Tarantino was on a budget, probably, I'm guessing, so that's why he had to do that. But yeah, you know, great dialogue in this, just full of great characters, and a really, really good movie. Most of it just takes place in a warehouse as well. Okay, for the letter S, this was one of the hardest I had to pick because most of my Blu-rays begin with the letter S. Well, not most of them, but the most amount is S. But, you know, I don't think many people can argue with this one. Another David Fincher movie, and that is Seven. Just a great thriller. I think David Fincher is the master of thrillers. Like I said, Brad Pitt is great in this movie. You know, if you haven't seen the end, it really will get to you. You know, and it's just a really dark crime movie that is one of the best ever made. You know, it simply is. I think this is in the IMDb top 30, if I'm not mistaken. And we also have Morgan Freeman in there. You know, the two detectives, him and Brad Pitt, work really well together. And it's just a great film. There's basically a killer committing the 7 deadly sins, gluttony, greed, etc. It's just a great film, guys. Someone on my Twitter the other day said this was their first time watching them and they couldn't believe how good it was. And I just can't imagine many people watching this for the first time in this day and age, because it's a very well-known film. But if you haven't seen it, guys, definitely give it a go. Okay, this came third in my top 25 greatest movies of all time. I didn't even have to look at the other letters because I knew it was this, and that is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. James Cameron, another movie for him in this, just absolutely took the formula of the first movie, turned it on its head, and made a great action film. The first one's more of a horror, which is fantastic, by the way. I just prefer this one a little bit more. It's just got everything. It really has. And, you know, you're really on edge with the T-1000. Even now, after watching this like 50 times in my lifetime, the T-1000, I'm still very wary of him watching this film. He's just an absolute killer machine. And, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger as the good guy in this one is just a great movie hero. Sarah Connor, again, another great character. It's just fantastic, guys. I mean, I'm sure most of you have seen this movie, but if you haven't, you are missing out big time because it is just absolutely sensational. Next up for the letter U is The Usual Suspects. I've only seen this once, but I remember really, really liking it. And, you know, Kevin Spacey at the end, you just, yeah, very, very cleverly done. Just a great crime movie, guys, you know. Not much more else to say, really. I mean, I remember the movie, but I'm not really that genius on it. I need to rewatch it. So I don't want to say too much and make a fool of myself, but I just know that this is a very, very well-made film. Okay, I only had 3 movies beginning with the letter V, and it was either this or V for Vendetta, but I went with this. Not a lot of people really think this is a masterpiece and stuff. I just think it's a good film. You know, I don't think it's Alfred Hitchcock's top 3 or anything. But, you know, it's a decent little mystery movie with James Stewart in, and yeah, not much more else to say really. I've only seen it once a long time ago, but it weren't bad. I'd like to give this another watch because sometimes movies are better on the second time watch, and I think this might be one of them actually. The main reason I didn't put V for Vendetta in there is because I don't remember the last like 20 minutes of that movie. It was a very long time ago. Okay, coming up for the letter W is probably a 10 out of 10 movie if I'm gonna be honest, and that is The Wizard of Oz. This movie just never gets old. I mean, you're watching it and you can see the lion's tail on a string and stuff, but it doesn't matter because it's just so well made. It's absolutely timeless. Just brilliant. I'm sure you've all seen this film, guys, but I could throw this on now and it hasn't aged today. It really hasn't. It's just brilliant. Cowardly Lion, one of the best movie characters of all time, in my opinion. I just love it where, you know, he goes, why don't you try counting sheep to fall asleep? And he goes, I can't count sheep, but I'm afraid of them. He's just great. But Wizard of Oz, yeah, definitely had to pick that for W, guys. Okay, we are on the letter X now. Don't have too many movies beginning with X, guys, but I went with X-Men First Class. I just thought this was a great little, you know, prequel to the X-Men movies, full of great characters, and I really enjoyed it. I don't own X-Men Apocalypse, but I really like that one as well. But I think this one just edges it, you know. I think it's probably my favourite X-Men film. I don't own them all, but out of the 4 I do own, the 5 I do own, this is my favourite. And yeah, it's just a great film. I'm looking forward to the New Mutants. Okay, sorry guys, I was just working out what letter we had left. For the letter Y, I only have 2 movies in my collection, and that is Yes Man and You Don't Mess With the Zoan, and I went with Yes Man. I just think it's quite a funny film with Jim Carrey, and like I said on my Blu-ray collection update, my Blu-ray collection video, I love it where he's at the Harry Potter party. He didn't even want to be there in the first place, and they're all watching Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and he goes, oh, we can go home now when it's finished, and then the other guy goes, now it's time for the Chamber of Secrets, and he has to say yes, and he just wants to leave. But it's a great film, you know, really good comedy, that. And for the letter Z, guys, this became behind Zombie Flesh Eaters in my top 5 zombie films, but when I think about it, this is a better made movie, and that is Zombieland. Just a fun film with Jesse Eisenberg. Woody Harrelson is fantastic in this movie, just such a fun character. You know, it's just a fun movie altogether, and the Bill Murray cameo is great. Yeah, just a fantastic film. I really need to pick the second one up because I have not seen that yet, and I really should because I really enjoyed this one, but just a great film, guys. And that is it, guys. Just a quick little fun video today. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will have a few more videos coming over the weekend, hopefully. But take it all easy. I'm sorry if you heard a bit of background noise there. It's very windy here in the UK. But, you know, stay tuned for more videos, guys. If you want to comment underneath, I will reply to every single one of you, I promise. Take it all easy, and I'll see you all in the next video.